Hey friends, it's Miss Emily here. I'm at my favorite park today to collect some aquatic macroinvertebrates. So these are critters that live in the water. Macro means they're big enough that we can see them without the use of a microscope or magnifying glass. And invertebrates means that they're critters without backbones. Let me show you what I'll be using today in case you want to go out to a local stream or pond near you and catch some yourselves. First of all, you'll need something to scoop with. I'll be using this nice little handheld net. If you do not have one of these, you can try using a kitchen strainer. You just need something that's going to drain the water out the bottom, but hold the organic material and, most importantly, the critters inside. Next, you'll want a large container to put your initial scoops into. If you have a tray like this, perfect. If not, you could use a bucket or any other large container that you have laying around. You'll also want some smaller containers to transfer the critters into for closer observation. So this is just a takeout tray. This is a yogurt cup. If you have an ice cube tray, that works really well. I find white is a nice color to really see the critters inside of. And I also bring along some plastic spoons. This is just to transfer the macroinvertebrates from the larger container into the smaller container. Finally, I've got this dichotomous key to help with identification of the macroinvertebrates. So now that you've got all that you need, let's get started. To start, you'll want to put a layer of water into your large bin. So when you start catching the macros, they have a place that they can go. So I'll just dunk it in here to fill it with some water. To scoop, you'll take your net or your strainer, dunk it in the water, and then wiggle it around, getting into the vegetation and the substrate. Oops, and we got lucky on our very first try. So you'll see some movement here. We got at least a couple macros. So I'm just going to very gently place them into our bin that we filled with water. Trust me, you don't always get lucky on your first try, but don't get discouraged. Just empty out your net back into the water, move over a few feet, and try again. If there's any rocks or small logs in your body of water, be sure to flip those over and take a peek. See if you can find anything hiding under there. As you continue to scoop, I recommend adding some leaves and other plant material into your big tray. That way the critters can have somewhere to hide and feel safe as they wait for you to be ready to observe them. Once you finish scooping, you can transfer the macroinvertebrates from the big tray into some of the smaller containers for closer observation. You can see I've already put one in the yogurt cup there, and I've got my ice cube tray over here. Make sure that you have water in any container that you're going to put a macro into because they do need it to breathe. You can see I've scooped up a macro out of the big tray with my plastic spoon, and I'm just going to carefully transfer it over into a smaller container. Making close observations of each critter will help with identification. What do you notice about this one? How many legs does it have? Does it have a tail? How does it move through the water? Are there any other characteristics that stand out to you? Now let's look at the dichotomous key to make an identification. Always start at the top, determining if the macro has a shell or no shell. In this case, it has no shell, so we will move down the right side of the key. Noting that it has legs, more specifically 3 pairs of legs, and no wings,
will take us down to the bottom row of the key. This macro appears to have 3 tails and feathery gills. It's a mayfly larva. Mayflies spend part of their life underwater and part of their life above water. The adult mayfly lays eggs in the water, and the eggs hatch into mayfly larvae. A mayfly larva will spend months and sometimes years in a lake or river. Then it will swim to the surface and emerge as an adult with wings. Let's observe another macroinvertebrate. What do you notice about this one? Does it have a shell? How many legs does it have? How big is it? How would you describe its movements? What else do you notice about it? Let's return to our dichotomous key. Remember to start at the top. Does this macro have a shell or no shell? If you said no shell, you're correct. Does it have legs or no legs? Hopefully you determined it has legs. Continue to work your way through the key until you make an identification. If you identified this critter as a riffle beetle, way to go. It has 3 pairs of legs, hard wings, and is small. You may have also noticed how it crawled along the bottom of the cup. Macroinvertebrates are indicators of water quality. The presence or absence of certain macros can indicate how polluted a water body is. Riffle beetles, for example, are usually highly sensitive to pollution, meaning they don't do well in polluted waters. So, if riffle beetles are present in your body of water, they could be indicators of good water quality. If you're catching your own macroinvertebrates, keep track of the species you identify and complete the Pollution Tolerance Index datasheet. Let's take a look at the rest of the critters that were caught today. Damselfly larvae are predators. They feed on other aquatic insects, tadpoles, and even small fish. As their name suggests, backswimmers swim through the water on their backs, using their long legs as paddles. Worm-like midge larvae can be found in a variety of colors. The red larvae, like this one, are sometimes called bloodworms. Whirligig beetles have 2 pairs of eyes. One pair looks above the water and the other looks below. This helps them hunt for prey and avoid predators at the same time. Scuds are tiny crustaceans which resemble shrimp. They have 7 pairs of legs and often swim on their sides. DOBSONFLY larvae, aka CHELLGRAMMITEs, may resemble aquatic centipedes. They have powerful mouthparts called mandibles, which make them awesome predators.
I caught this little fish. It's not a macroinvertebrate because remember, invertebrate means without a backbone, and this fish indeed does have a backbone, but still really exciting to catch. Once you've observed and identified all your macroinvertebrates, be sure to just gently return them to their natural habitat.
Pause here and practice calculating the pollution tolerance index using the datasheet. I calculated the pollution tolerance index using the datasheet. The macroinvertebrates indicate that the water quality is good. Thanks for exploring with me today. I hope you can get outside and discover what critters are living in the water near you.